Balance of power. Based upon the writings of Montesquieu in The Spirit of Natural Laws and James Madison in Federalist No. 47, the concept of checks and balances became a central feature in our government. As Madison stated, it is agreed on all sides that the powers properly belonging to one of the departments ought not to be directly and completely administered by either of the other departments. It is equally evident that neither of them ought to possess, directly or indirectly, an overruling influence over the others in the administration of their respective powers. Some specific examples of how each branch of government has used its power to check another branch may be useful to illustrate the importance of this feature. For example, Bill Clinton effectively used the veto 30 times while the Republican Congress overrode only 2 of them. Another example, the Senate confirmation hearings of Supreme Court nominee Robert Bork resulted in Bork's being denied that position. Yet another example is the Supreme Court decision that halted the attempt by Congress to pass a flag desecration act. And again, the Senate rejected the 1999 Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. As of 1990, there have been more than 2,500 presidential vetoes of congressional bills. Congress overrode around 100 of them. The Supreme Court has found more than 100 acts of Congress unconstitutional. The Senate has refused to confirm 27 nominees to the Supreme Court and 9 cabinet members. Other appointees have withdrawn as a result of sure Senate oppositions. There have been several cases of congressional impeachment of federal judges. The critics of checks and balances point to the potential of a constitutional crisis developing if one branch attempts to challenge the authority of another. For instance, if the President as Commander-in-Chief deploys troops in a country for an extended period of time and ignores the provisions of the War Powers Act, an act of Congress that limits presidential authority to send armed forces to another country, there is a good possibility that an unresolvable conflict between the executive and the legislative branches could occur. Typically, the Supreme Court does not get involved in adjudicating those kinds of conflicts. In fact, Congress has challenged the President's authority in such foreign policy conflicts in Somalia and Bosnia, but has stopped short of placing restrictions on his authority. Probably the most significant feature of checks and balances is that it consistently proves that our government is limited. Even though many political scientists point to the power of the presidency, even our most dominant presidents had to deal with the interests and concerns of the legislature and judiciary. Other features of our government and political system that have an impact on the size and function of the presidency include the role of political parties, the growth of the federal bureaucracy, the development and expansion of the information superhighway, and the role of media, which puts a great deal of pressure on elected officials, and the emergence of the United States as the last superpower from the Cold War, which places a tremendous responsibility on our country's leaders, forcing them to work together to solve major foreign policy problems.